Hey, you guys, welcome to What the Flick. We're going to talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman, who died over the weekend, which was just devastating to all of us and to anybody who ever saw any film that he was in. And I was sort of taken aback by, it's horrible the way he died. I was taken aback by the reaction, not just from people in our world, but everybody I know had some movie they loved him in. He was so versatile. He has such depth of talent. It's just, I'm still so bummed about this.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's exaggerating to say that he was one of the great American actors of this generation. I mean, you look at his IMDb page, just a roster of stuff. I think like a lot of people, I sort of went, I'm going to learn that guy's name when I saw Boogie Nights. But then I realized, no, wait, I'd seen him in Twister, I'd seen him in Nobody's Fool, and all these other films.
In Scent of a Woman.
Scent of a Woman. And just so. The famous speech everybody talks about is the uncool speech from Almost Famous. And uncool is some of the best stuff that Hoffman had to offer. I mean, he was so not concerned about looking good on screen or being nice or being liked, and called up such a sort of emotional nakedness that anybody could relate to. Because anytime that you've been at your most vulnerable or your worst, or things that you regret, or things that you wish had gone differently, that's what he would put into a performance, and you would see it made manifest in a way that was so brave and so human and relevant and meaningful, and he was one of my favorite living actors, and I'm just devastated that we're not going to get another 30 years of work from him.
Yeah, he brought humanity to the creeps and the freaks and the outcasts, the people who we wouldn't want to look at, but he made you want to know more about them.
But even more so than, yes, true, but more so than creeps and freaks and outcasts, just regular people you ignore. Like just that they didn't have to be freakish. It's almost easier to play freaks than it is to play the guy who you see every day.
Average.
The average. And he made average, I thought, really interesting. And I listened to a couple interviews with directors who'd worked with him a bunch. And there was such similarity in the way they described things about how they'd have a way to play a scene. Cameron Crowe would have an idea of how he wanted a scene played. And Hoffman would do something so completely different. Without, he didn't say, he just did it, right? And he was always willing to take direction, but did it so completely differently. And Crowe would say, and you were like, it wasn't in the range of ways I thought it could be done, right. And it's so clearly
better.
what we're going.
Yeah, the actor James Urbaniak wrote a really great piece. It's online. I forget where, but it's easy to Google. Where he talked about what he learned from losing a role to Philip Seymour Hoffman, and it was auditioning for some like one-act play, and it was like the character was like a troll in the closet, and he sort of did it a certain way, and then he watched Hoffman do it. It was like, I didn't even think of doing it that way. He's extraordinary.
It's shocking to lose someone like that because yes, like we kind of knew that he'd gone back into rehab and he was having.
I didn't know any of that.
He was a pretty private guy. It hadn't been huge news, and it's when we do what we do, like you hear about somebody dying, a celebrity dying, or an actor or someone, and there are certain people that take you off guard, and like you said, it's someone that you wanted to see another 30 years of. It would be, akin to, and God forbid this happens, like Paul Giamatti, right? I mean, you look back on what Hoffman was doing, and you kind of see what would have happened if we hadn't lost John Cazale so early, right? I mean, I feel like Hoffman was doing very similar to what Cazale was doing in that he would play these characters that other actors might make loathsome, and bring a humanity to them. Cazale makes Fredo a real person in the Godfather movies, and it would be easy. Somebody could come in and play Fredo and just make him like, oh, he's a joke, and that's true, yeah. And that's what Hoffman could do. I think Hoffman, at his best, would take a lot of characters that you would be throwaway characters, and he would bring a humanity to them. And I know that that's cliche to say, but it was something that would improve any movie he was in just by his presence.
In the Oscar doc that's running on TCM now, there's a nice quote in the screenwriting section from a nice soundbite in the screenwriting section from Clooney, who says, "Look, it starts with a screenplay. If you don't have a good screenplay, you can't make a good movie. It's never happened." He said, there's never been a good movie made from a bad screenplay. And I don't really disagree with that, but Hoffman seemed to pull so many movies out of just complete, at the bare minimum, ordinariness with something that, like a movie I didn't really like.
Flawless.
Like Along Came Polly.
Like Along Came Polly, like Pirate Radio, which maybe you guys like, but but you can't. But he's so good. His part's so good in it that and then there are movies that made them among my favorite movies of the year. Movies like Charlie Wilson's War.
Mm-hmm. He's so great in that.
And there's so many times that my memory is of Charlie Wilson's War, which I'll watch again, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, but where he doesn't speak. And where there's I feel like that guy got pausing better than anybody, because it was like, sometimes when actors recite lines, you sense that they're reciting them because they were ready for them, and he seemed to be doing what I do all the time and what so many of us do, which is, wait a minute, what's the word I'm looking for? What am I trying to say, and how do I say it well and quickly?
But you get in a film like this Hunger Games sequel, right?
Right.
He's in a few scenes, like a half dozen scenes maybe, as the games maker. And everyone talks about, that great moment where he's dancing with Jennifer Lawrence and the unexpected choices he makes there. But the scene where he tells Donald Sutherland what the game plan should be, it's in this deadpan kind of monotone, and it's chilling. Like, it's hilarious, but it's also frightening at the same time. So he can give gravitas, a word that I like a lot, to a movie like The Hunger Games, big action movie like that.
And you look at, he can play like sort of oily, creepy guys, but he can also play kind of rich preppies. He put on a baseball uniform in Moneyball and totally owned that shit. Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, a movie I love that not enough people saw. Synecdoche, New York, which is like one of my favorite films of the last 20 years.
I missed it, man. I couldn't figure it out. I was baffled by it. It made me feel stupid, right? So. And now I feel like I have to see it again, right? Because so many people talked about it after he died, and I knew as I was seeing it that I was missing it. Like I got like, this is not terrible. It's just terrible for someone
of my intellect.
No, I don't get it either. Yeah. I don't love it either. But now, in retrospect, like the intertwining of art and death and how they're both tormenting, it seems very poignant.
I'm blanking on the name. What's the movie where he's the gambler, the banker that's got the gambling problem?
Owning Mahoney.
Mahoney.
Which is a film about addiction, and that would be interesting to look at again.
That is
an
amazing performance from him.
Yeah.
Like, just to see a guy drowning in his addiction.
Before the Devil Knows You're Dead. That's Lamette, right?
Yeah.
Right?
And Hoffman directed Jack Goes Boating, which I thought was a really strong first film. He took a play and opened it up in a way that was very organic. It didn't feel forced. 4 really strong performances, his included. I would have loved to have seen more of him behind the camera. I remember I dug up my review of the DVD when it came out, and I complained about the fact there was no director commentary.
It's like you would have. I feel like I don't know, and this is totally anecdotal, but my sense is that you mentioned, and I think there was, first of all, there was a little bit of a slow reaction to his death. Like first it was, this young actor who was very talented, and then maybe because it was the Super Bowl, and then as the days went on, it was like, oh no, wait, he mattered more than we had even acknowledged it, and you read about the way other actors talk about, like, to me, 2 people stand out, and obviously there are more, but like, I don't know that I've ever read actors as respectful of any 2 people as Daniel Day-Lewis and Philip Seymour Hoffman. The way they talked about having worked with him, how it was like, it's a different game when they're in it, and so I'm not saying they were the 2 greatest, but they're, like, it's a pretty small group that can be included in a conversation with Daniel Day-Lewis when you're talking about how other actors respect what they do.
Yeah, no, Dave and I were talking about this, and we sort of took Daniel Day-Lewis and a lot of the Brits out of the conversation. But as far as American actors, for me, for this generation, it's Hoffman and Giamatti. Yeah. They're the guys,
right.
And now we've lost one.
Can you pick a favorite performance? I wrote on Twitter, it's impossible to pick one. How do you? Because I love Synecdoche, New York so much, and I think that he runs such a gamut and has to walk such a tight wire in it. That's the movie that I've been kind of pointing people to. But there's 20 movies that you could point to that are like, this is extraordinary Hoffman work. I would say maybe The Master.
Sure.
It is so frightening and commanding, but again, like, he's great in Boogie Night. He's great in
Magnolia,
Town of Mr. Ripley.
Yeah.
Only Mahoney.
Happiness.
That's a great
Yeah,
call.
Love Liza.
And you know, for me again, I'll go to
Well,
Charlie
what he
Wilson.
does,
I'll
you
go
know-
to Charlie Wilson's work.
And again, Flawless, like what he does in
Yeah.
Flawless, and takes that character out of the cliche.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that movie doesn't deserve him, but he's great in it.
And
for
There's
sure.
a lot of movies that didn't deserve him.
Yeah.
and he makes them legitimate.
Right.
And you know, and Almost Famous. You know, it's not much
Absolutely.
there. I mean, it's small, but it's great
Oh,
when he's
God,
there.
it's essential.
All right, everybody. Thanks.